Behind me is my 1948 8N that we've been trying to get started for a while now. We pulled this thing out of the bushes. It's set for almost 30 years. Today, I think we're going to make a big step into getting this thing put back together. So let's talk about some of the things I hope to accomplish in this video. I've done the 12-volt conversion kit. I put new spark plug wires in it. I put new spark plugs, new distributor. So all the 12-point conversion stuff is done. I've got some concerns about the distributor cap there. New water pump, new pulley. So we're going to try to put the front end back together, put the exhaust manifold back on it. We have big issues out of the back end, but it's not leaking anymore. But there's nothing in there to leak, so I'm going to put some more diesel in there. And I got a new carburetor from China, as 45 would say. So this is the new carburetor. Now here's the thing about these Chinese carburetors, and I've watched about 6 million videos on them, is they're either hit or miss. So the throttle or the idle screws are good. Sometimes you run this one down till it bottoms out and unscrew it 2 full turns. You run this one in and run it out 1 turn. So 1 to 2 turns for both of these screws will set it the way it needs to be set. We've got a new sediment bowl for our fuel tank should be good to go. So man, I'm so excited. I'm not sure, but we may get this thing started in this video. We're going to try to get as far as we can. So you guys hang on tight and let's get it done. Got the fan put back on. Got the front axle put back on. Now we'll tighten up the linkage here, the tie rods, the steering linkages on both sides. Get those tightened down and move on. I think it's coming together nicely. I hope it works. Man, I'm telling you, wouldn't the old steel wheel boys be proud this thing gets to running again? I think so. I think it's going to be awesome. Alright, now we come to the fun part. The exhaust manifold and the carburetor. Clean this up a little bit. There's some degradation on the manifold there, so we still might have a leak. So that's no big deal. Relatively speaking, this tractor has been clean, exception of that water in the transmission. It hasn't been that bad. Look at here. There's acorns and stuff on in there. We'll have to get all that stuff out, won't we? Let me take some compressed air and blow through here. Remember, we've been soaking this in PB Blaster, so yeah, see, that's the... This hasn't given me any troubles whatsoever. But I will tell you this, I found out something about the steel wheel boys. If you haven't seen if you haven't seen the video about the story of the steel wheels, they were potentially the owners of this tractor. And I've seen that a lot of them were from, well, one guy emailed me, said there were tons of steel wheel around Jackson County, North Carolina. But there's still a lot of steel wheels in Swain County, North Carolina. So that's crazy. But evidently, the steel wheel boys had a lot going on besides just moonshine. There's a lot more to the story that we'll get into later. All right, here's the big reveal for the carburetor. Ta-da! I don't even think it's got a gasket on it. I didn't think it had a gasket. But we're gonna clean that up. I just remembered something. This come with gaskets. The exhaust manifold gasket came with a carburetor gasket, but this one did too, so we'll just use these. And it also came with new holding studs, but I put the old ones on there. And it also came with a new brass input 90-degree elbow there, but I put the old one in there too. And I thought about taking these out and putting the new ones in because they're clean threads and stuff, but then I thought, you know what, I'm going to use the, and it came with nuts as well, but I've got the original nuts on these, so they'll go back on fine. And this made it up, you know, this made it up to that. So I think I'm just going to keep it like that instead of trying to risk putting this old line into this new elbow, because it might potentially leak or whatever. So we'll just keep the stock parts on it there, but we will put the new gasket on. And now we'll put it on the manifold. And then we'll put the manifold on, hook up all the linkages. What you talking about, driver? We're gonna have this thing hooked up. It's been a pretty simple process. Okay, okay. Looks good. Oh, let me blow this out with compressed air before I throw this carburetor in here. I'm actually going to put the carburetor inside this drawer so it doesn't potentially get dirt in it. Once I've got this blowed out, I noticed it's about 17 pounds lighter. But it's got a huge crack in it right there. Probably going to have to order me a new exhaust manifold. Let me see if I don't think it shows up on camera, but right here is a huge crack. Like it's separated from the manifold itself. But we're going to run it and then put on the list of parts to buy exhaust manifold. And the thing about the original carburetor, I'll keep it, and then if the the old China carburetor doesn't work, I'll just buy a rebuild kit for the original and go from there. But I'm for sure going to have to get a exhaust manifold, for sure. Put this bad boy on and see what we can get into. If we get this thing running, it'll be in parades. We've talked about that in several videos. If you haven't seen the whole playlist, go check it out. We'll put it in parades. We'll try to track down some of the more historical significance of the 8N. So, I mean, anybody in the classic tractor world knows that this is one of the, I'm not sure, you guys leave a comment, is it the most popular tractor ever built? I would say it has to be pretty darn close. Well, what a fun project this has been. Something easy to get started with. If you hear like tapping in the background, it's because it's raining on my metal pole barn roof. So these old Ford 8 ends, man, there's a lot of farm. They're really popular up north. I don't know why that is. Probably because there's more farms up north than there are down south. Maybe. I mean, we farm a lot of cotton and soybeans down in the southeast. Cotton, peanuts, soybeans. We do some corn, but not nearly like the guys up north or Midwest. You can find these tractors up north for like 500 bucks. Well, running. Down here, a running 8N that's in really, really good shape is $3,500. But you got, if it's just running and it needs some work, you can buy them all day long for $1,000. And I think that's about what a standard one goes for up north. Am I wrong or am I right? I don't know. All right. You guys ready to put the exhaust manifold on? Man, I hate that thing's got a crack in it. Rats. But it is what it is at this point. All right, let's put the exhaust manifold on. Well, I ran into a problem. The manifold don't go behind the alternator. Oh, doggone it. So no problem. I just got to loosen it and pull it, swing it back, and then I can push it back. But man, always something, ain't it? So let me get that taken care of. Here's what I don't know, right? I don't know if... here's what I do know. I do know that when you crank this up, that it's supposed to open up the petcock on the sediment valve two turns, and that allows the flow of fuel in. So I don't know if I can put a fuel tank on here that, you know, like a jerry can of some sort, and let fuel flow in there. If that will be too much fuel or what. Or do I mock up something to put the gas can on it, or the gas tank, and then open up this, connect it to the sediment bowl, and do it the way it's supposed to be out of the tank itself. I'm leaning on doing it toward the tank itself. So let's try that. Here's what I come up with. I took my T224, put the bucket on top of the motor, put the gas tank in the bucket, and now I'll tighten the fuel line, the supply line to that, and put fuel in it and see what happens. I had to bend this radiator hose back so it don't catch the fan, but the fan ain't gonna catch the bucket. And man, listen guys, I think we're about ready to see if this thing fire up. Let me get this line connected. Okie dokie. Might be some leaks in there, but we'll be all right. Let's put a gallon in it. Let's try it. You want to? The moment we've all been waiting for. Let me go get a gallon of gas. I'm not going to put much in it at all. That's probably a half gallon. Let's see if the sediment bowl opens. Let me get some gas. Alright, she's filling up. That's what I'm talking about. Alright. Get her opened up there. No leaking right there, that's good. Oh my gosh, guys, can you believe it? Okay. Listen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. All right, it did start leaking pretty bad right here. This fitting, this connection. So I wonder if I can, because this connection, this input is fine, this input is fine. It's just this fuel line was leaking. Let me try to tighten it down a little more. As tight as I can get it without. Yeah. But I think it was leaking like out of here. Let me turn this on and show you guys. Yeah, see that? Alright, let me leave it right there for a second. Alright, here we go. First start in 30-something year. Pull the choke out a little bit. Set the throttle halfway. Turn the switch on. Alright, time to get primed up a little bit. See what's happening on this side. Oh, I see some big time leakage out over here. It's leaking. Alright, from that weep hole there. Let's keep turning it over a few times. Pull the choke out a little more. A little more throttle. Okay. We're not doing something right. Alright, let me bottom this out and then turn it 2 turns. Alright, now let me screw that in and turn it out 1 turn. Oh, that was way out. Okay. Let's see if that did anything. Choke is halfway out. Throttle. Let's set the throttle about right there. Alright, let's see if we're getting any spark. Alright, let's see if we get any spark. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like we're getting any spark. No, definitely not getting any spark. So let's check that. Okay, that was number 4, which that was the one that was broke. So let me try number 3, see if we're getting spark on number 3. And then we may have to buy a new distributor cap. I mean, well, we're going to have to, for sure. I think that my connections aren't good on the wires that I made. That might be a problem too. Let's see if I can get that spark. Nope. Something ain't right with my plug wires. Let me investigate. Alright, let's try that. Nope. No spark. No. I've done something wrong. Captain Obvious. I think I've done something wrong. If you're not getting spark, that means the coil is not doing what it's supposed to do. So that's something's wrong there. Let me ask you guys a question. Is that supposed to be getting hot? That's hot. Or well, warm to the touch. Does the coil get warm to the touch? I'm not sure. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to research why the coil is getting warm to the touch and why I don't have a spark. And then I'll have to look at my wiring. I just don't know. I mean, the wiring's so simple. It's the most simple wiring diagram ever. And it's working because it's turning on. I don't know what that switch is for. What's the switch for if it's headlights maybe? Okay. I'm going to go research why I'm not getting any spark. I think it's got something to do with the bad distributor cap. And so I might just order me a new distributor cap and see what's up with that. And I think I'm pretty sure that's going to solve our problem, because something the coil has to make the spark, right? Ain't that how that works? But I think it's wired and all that. But now I've got to go to the forums and all that stuff and see why the coil is getting warm to the touch. Let me check to make sure we're getting 12 volts to the coil. All right, we were getting 11.9, so it's 12.3 on the battery, 12.1 to the plate, 11.9 to the. But I will say this: my voltmeter ain't exact. I mean, it's like a $3 General voltmeter, so it may be getting 12 volts indeed. But why? I don't know. You guys, let me know why my coil will be feeling warm to the touch, and why I'm not getting a spark. I replaced. Let me show you what I did off camera. Got the new one to fit. So my only thing is these connections in here aren't connecting properly somehow. So when that turns and tries to, hits the plugs or whatever, when the rotor cap turns, maybe it's not hitting like it's supposed to. That's the only thing I can think of, is that when it's turning, it's not making the connections. There's a spring inside here that has to connect to the distributor from the coil. But I feel like all that's put together properly. I don't know. I may have to ask a buddy to come over here and help me. But listen, I appreciate you guys watching. Watch the playlist right here and leave some comments. Take care. God bless you guys. I appreciate you.